All right, we're going to start this all over again, as once again my settings keep reverting and I keep forgetting to check the microphone. So my apologies, everyone. We are doing a less blind reaction to the AP poll dropping. Just now, I haven't seen it other than what I've scrolled for, so we will start back on this. A reminder, we do a show called The Aftermath on this channel tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, with Miami Flo and myself. Tape-based takes on there, a little bit more rational takes versus instant reaction to the emotions of a college football game. So let's go into the poll and just do a quick dive through what we did, and I'll start over since I was a person who does YouTube and doesn't know when my mic is on mute. But, you know, that is what it is. It's a normal thing if you watch this channel. So number 25, Missouri. Big win over Kansas, down 21-6, comes back to win. You got to give them credit there. A very convincing win over what I think is a good Kansas team. They make their debut in the poll at number 25. Auburn moves up, number 24 here, with a win over Ball State. Nothing to write home about, but they were in the others receiving votes, and I'm sure the attrition we're going to see up ahead, people losing, people moving down, has created the space for them. Avoiding looking at the others receiving votes for the moment so that we can see who dropped. You might be looking at, you probably already saw the poll, but I have not. Michigan moves down 8 spots against a loss against Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a pretty convincing win there. Bryce Underwood didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard, but definitely continued to just show some interesting traits. Since that was the only game that was ranked unranked, it makes sense that they're still ranked even in this early season where the volatility of the poll is pretty tremendous. Kennesaw, Indiana, Texas Tech, Utah, and Alabama, all on screen, all basically had their tune-up game, practice games against schools that, you know, normally would have almost no chance of beating them. All did what they're supposed to do in those specific games, so they all just basically move up along with the poll. Though Utah, I think, is getting more traction in terms of moving up 5 spots versus 1, 2, or 3 like the others, because I think there's a delayed effect personally on the narrative around Utah as people realize how great their victory the week before with UCLA was. Alabama is hard to even discuss what's really going on there. We need more context. Did they have a really bad game against Florida State? Is Florida State as good as I think they might actually really be, because they kicked the hell out of their cupcake yesterday? We need some more time, but we're going to find out very quickly on Alabama as their SEC schedule starts to come into place. They do have the Wisconsin game coming up as well from a Big Ten interconference thing. South Florida, they make their debut at number 18. Very, program-changing victory potentially for them against the Gators in the Swamp. Excellent coach there with Alex Goschel, a quarterback that I kind of feel like is Lenora Sellers light. Huge game for South Florida now. We don't know where Miami's ranked, but we know we're going to have a top 20 matchup of South Florida versus Miami down in Miami. That game's early spread is 18.5 points, which is similar to the spread between Florida, Miami, Florida, and South Florida had. That's more a reflection, less on South Florida. It's not really a shot at them. It's probably just a more reflection of the Vegas odds makers feeling less strong about Florida on the power rankings perspective. All right, number 17, Ole Miss. Really good game with Kentucky. If you didn't catch it, we'll break that down tomorrow. Moving up 3 spots with their victory in conference. Kentucky wasn't ranked, but again, they're just moving up with the poll, as is normal to happen. Texas A&M, Utah State, 44-22. They move up 3 spots. Again, probably just with the poll. I think it's very hard to say what we feel about Texas A&M at this point. It's too early in the season. Neither of those games are particularly convincing from the parts that I saw about them, but they're doing what they need to. Tennessee whips up on East Tennessee State, 72-17. They move up 7 spots. I think that's probably just a combined reaction to what they did to Syracuse last week and just the volatility of the poll here. Iowa State moves up 2 with their win over Iowa State. There's with their win over Iowa. That's one that I think I have in question. We'll see what else happened ahead of them on the poll. I'm assuming that they are the highest ranked Big 12 team based off of Arizona State's loss. Number 13, Oklahoma moves up 5 spots on the backs of the victory over Michigan. John Mateer looked amazing if you saw it. There was some struggles there in the game overall. They didn't blow out Michigan, but it was a very solid victory for Oklahoma, and you'd much rather be Brent Venables right now than Brent Pry over in Virginia Tech. Clemson falls out of the top 10 with their unimpressive game against Troy. There's definitely problems on the offensive side of the ball with Clemson, one of my teams to pick for the early playoffs, and I'm not feeling as good about that anymore. Down 4 spots after that Troy game with that long delay. South Carolina also did not have their best game against South Carolina State. They, of course, won convincingly, but it was not the kind of victory that you would think. So I understand why they might have got leapfrogged, even if just a little bit. FSU in the top 10, massive game. Yes, East Texas A&M is a game you should beat people by, but they beat them the best you possibly can, right? So that's the only way to really measure those in my estimation. But Florida State moving into the top 10, considering they weren't even, in most people's also receiving votes, kind of reflective of what they've done so far. So the reaction's happening. The Illini go into the top 10, up 2 spots after really dismantling Duke in the second half. Duke had 3 turnovers, really impacted things. Notre Dame moves up a spot without having played at all, just because of the attrition of the poll. Texas remains the same at 7. Georgia's down 2. They did not look impressive in the Austin Peay game. You should go watch the tape. If you watch some Georgia YouTube creators, they will tell you the same. They did not look that great. Definitely take a look at that. I'm sure they'll be fine, but we're going to find out soon as SEC play kicks in for Georgia. Miami remains exactly where they were. A workmanlike victory over Bethune-Cookman. The Dogs were sort of called off there. Oregon leapfrogs Miami, switches spots with Georgia off of the heels of a beating of Oklahoma State and Van Gundy. Can't wait to talk to Flo about that game and Gundy, not Van Gundy, Gundy in general tomorrow night on the Aftermath. LSU remains flat. Penn State remains flat. The FIU game was Penn State should have beat FIU by more than that. It was at home. FIU is a new good coach that I think could turn that program around relative for where it is. But that game was pretty low scoring in the first half, so interesting game. And Ohio State, number 1, as expected, beating up Grambling State. So let's just scroll down real quick, and then we'll move on. And again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out all the content we're doing, and please come check us out tomorrow night on the Aftermath show. So in others receiving votes, essentially, Arizona State falls from number 12 to essentially number 26 with that last second loss to Mississippi State. A really great game. They had a tremendous comeback there, but they tumble 14 spots. BYU, essentially 27th. Georgia Tech's creeping up. Florida falls from, I think, 14 to 28, so they're out of the poll. Florida and Arizona State had their chances and didn't take care of business. I can make an argument here that I don't know why Mississippi State has less votes than Arizona State. Southern Cal's making a move. We'll go more into that overall. I don't have a lot of objections to this. I mean, you can make an argument for some of these teams. I think the Big 12 is still probably underrepresented, but, Arizona State losing really hurt. There were, a few games for the Big 12 overall that also hurt their strength of schedule, which we'll get into. But even with that, I think a few more teams probably need to be up a little bit higher than some of these one-loss teams. Anyway, that is it for the moment. Please definitely like and subscribe to the channel. Check us out tomorrow night on the Miami Flow channel. If you're watching right now in the comments, please let me know what your biggest gripes with the poll would be this week. Who do you think is being underranked? Who's too high? Who's too low? And as always, stay tuned to us on College Football Express, college football at full throttle.